Hello loves, welcome back to our channel. I am finally sitting down to film this video. I've been wanting to film this for quite some time now. I finally had the time to plan out this video and plan out another video on kind of this same subject, which is breastfeeding. Me and Hunter have been through a long journey of breastfeeding. He is still being exclusively breastfed, and so I decided, you know what, it is time to share our knowledge, my knowledge on breastfeeding. So today we are going to be talking about things no one told me about breastfeeding, because I swear I should have looked up these videos when I was pregnant, and I wish I knew all of these things that I'm going to talk about before I gave birth and started breastfeeding, because breastfeeding was so hard in the beginning. I went through so much, he went through so much. It was a difficult path, but I'm very happy to say that we are comfortable in our breastfeeding adventure, whatever you want to call it. And so I'm going to share the things that no one told me about breastfeeding that I wish I would have known. So I've written down a bunch of things that no one told me that I want to talk about. Let's just get into this video. So the first thing no one told me about breastfeeding is that your milk doesn't come in right away. Right after you give birth, your breasts start producing what's called colostrum, I think. And it's like this tiny bit of liquid that comes out of your breast, and it is jam-packed with all of the nutrients that your newborn baby needs. So a lot of women in the beginning, they're worried because they're like, I'm literally only getting like a couple drops out, like little to nothing. And that's because that is all you're supposed to get. Your baby's belly is super tiny when they are born, and colostrum produces everything they need. Your milk usually won't come in until about the 3rd or 4th day, maybe even later. Sometimes women get it later, but I got it, I think, on the 3rd or 4th day. I don't remember which day it was, but it was on the 3rd or the 4th day. The second thing no one told me is that not every baby latches right away. Most likely your baby will have to learn how to get a good latch. And that's something that kind of really tends to make a mom quit breastfeeding, because it can be so hard in the beginning to get your baby to latch. It can be a really tough journey, or you could be one of those lucky moms that have a baby that latches instantly and is great at breastfeeding right from the start, which, if you are that mom, I envy you. Hunter had such a hard time latching in the beginning, and it was so frustrating, and it really made me understand why moms give up on breastfeeding. I was already in a lot of pain and trying to recover and super tired, and so it was kind of frustrating, but the lactation consultants really helped with that. But one thing I do have to say is, if you are a mom that's getting super frustrated with it and your baby's just not getting it, and you're just to the level of like being completely and overly stressed out about it, do not beat yourself up about breastfeeding. I mean, I will say that if you want to breastfeed, be diligent and be patient, because it will become second nature sometime. But then again, I would hate to see a mom beat herself up and literally just fall into a deep depression and just a ton of stress because they're so frustrated with it. So again, fed is best. So do not beat yourself up about it. I think it took Hunter weeks to even learn how to properly latch, and even then he still was having trouble latching here and there. That leads me to my third thing, and that is lip ties and tongue ties are a thing. I had no idea what these were. I didn't even know about them. I didn't even know this was a thing, but babies can have a lip and a tongue tie. I am going to make a detailed video on a lip and tongue tie, on lip and tongue ties, because there's just so much about them and so much detail. But a lip and a tongue tie basically is that little like frenulum you see under their lip and under their tongue. And if your baby has a lip or a tongue tie, it can greatly affect their latch. Hunter had a lip and a tongue tie, and after getting him revised, his latch was like 10 times better. So that is the one thing that I will tell you moms to look for in the hospital. Don't wait, because I got his done at like 2 months old, and I wish I would have gotten it done sooner, because then maybe our breastfeeding journey of all the struggles probably wouldn't have been as long as it was. I was super frustrated that they didn't even look at that in the hospital, so make sure you check that out in the hospital, because they can literally revise it there, or you can get it done shortly after the birth. It's just easier to get it done the younger they are. The fourth thing is that there is such a thing as engorgement period, and this thing I never knew about. Never. Like, my mom didn't tell me about it, my mother-in-law didn't tell me about it, no one told me about this. But right when your milk comes in, you become severely engorged, and it is so painful. It is super uncomfortable. I think some moms don't get it as bad as others, but I got it really bad. I had so much milk. I had a massively oversupply of milk, and the engorgement was just torture. I was in so much pain, and it can lead to problems as well. Engorgement period lasts from anywhere between like a couple days and a couple weeks. And mine lasted, I want to say, a week or two. Which brings me to my fifth thing, and that is you can have an overactive letdown. And that is where your milk literally shoots out your breast. You know how like in the movies they're like, oh, your milk just literally like comes spraying out. Well, I don't know if it's in the movies. I don't think I've ever seen a movie like that. But you know, there's like that stereotype or whatever that was like when a mom's breastfeeding, their milk is just like shooting and spraying out their nipple. It's not a joke. It's real. It's called overactive letdown, and it sucks because I think he wants to talk. I had an overactive letdown, and it can make things so difficult because it's literally spraying into your baby's mouth, and they could choke on it and just cause them to unlatch. And I don't know how many things I have sprayed my milk onto, my phone, my sheets, my husband, my baby, everywhere. Like literally I've gotten milk everywhere just from having an overactive letdown. But I will say it gets better. Just bear with it, get through it. It won't be as bad, and it'll learn to calm down. Mine took a long time, and I still kind of have an overactive letdown, but it's not as bad. That also brings me to my sixth thing. These kind of just like connect. A letdown can be uncomfortable and painful, and you can feel your letdown. Some moms do feel it, some moms don't. I felt mine, and I literally thought something was wrong, because the best way I can describe it is your breasts contracting. Like, you know how you get your contractions during like labor? It was like that, but in your breasts. I got it really painful. I swear I got like the worst of everything, minus not having a low supply. But yeah, I thought something was wrong, and turns out that nothing was wrong. The feeling of a letdown will decrease though as they get older. It's definitely not as uncomfortable as it used to be, but I can still feel it. Like when my milk is getting ready to flow, I can feel it. The 8th thing is that you can get an infection in your breasts. So there's 2 infections that I know of that are pretty common, and that is mastitis and thrush. Mastitis is usually for women who have an oversupply. It's where the milk in your breasts don't properly drain, and it causes these knots in your breast, and it gets infected and inflamed, and it's red and itchy and everything. Thankfully, I never got it. Surprisingly, I never got it. Let's put it that way. It mainly happens during the engorgement period because that is when you're really, really full and you're trying not to release milk, remove milk, but you're also like trying not to like get mastitis, and sometimes it's just inevitable, and I'm so surprised that I never got it. I got clogged ducts, that's for sure. That's another thing that you can get is clogged ducts, and that's where your milk ducts get clogged and it's like a knot and it's painful. You have to massage it and like put, not warm, but a cold compress on it because it like cuts off the blood flow. Well, technically you're supposed to put a warm compress on it, remove the milk, but then put a cold compress on it because then the cold compress like cuts off the blood flow so that it doesn't create more milk to make another clogged duct. Clogged duct. I keep saying duck. Sorry if this video is long, but yes, so mastitis, clogged ducts, and then you can also get thrush, which thrush is a yeast infection, and I did get that, and Hunter got that, and it's where your nipple gets infected because of like if you have your breast pads on and you get milk in your breast pads and it's wet and moist. Sorry if you hate that word, but moist. And the moisture creates bacteria and it creates a yeast infection called thrush. So you want to make sure you are changing your breast pads because you do not want to get thrush. It's horrible, it's itchy, and you can give it to your baby can get it, and then it can cause even more breastfeeding problems because it's really uncomfortable for them to breastfeed when they have thrush. So it's just crazy. And then that kind of leads me to my 9th thing, and that is breast pads are a must. Didn't know that. I thought you could just, you know, wear your breastfeeding attire, but no, you have to wear a breast pad. If I don't wear a breast pad, there will be milk everywhere. It will leak through my shirt and my bra and get everywhere. Some women can stop wearing breast pads the older the baby gets, but not me. I still have to wear them because my milk just goes everywhere. I literally soaked my shirt once because I forgot to put a breast pad on before I fed him. Yeah. So that is pretty much everything that no one told me about breastfeeding. Okay, John took Hunter for a second. They're gonna think you're beating our child again.
Thank you.
So that is pretty much it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to hit the thumbs up button and leave me a comment down below of things that you didn't know about breastfeeding, or even things you didn't know about like feeding formula, because I'm not really familiar with that stuff either. Also, if you aren't already, we would love to have you subscribe and be a part of our YouTube family. We do daily vlogs. So you'll get to hear that cute laugh. He's such a hoot. I love him. It's Papa playing with you. See, he just wanted his Papa. Also, make sure you turn on your post notifications so that you know when we have a new video go live. And we will see you in our next video. Bye!
You get to see this cute face.